So you finished sprint planning. Let's jump to the daily stand-ups, the Agile huddle. I personally think one of the most important parts of the Agile ceremonies. The daily stand-up is a brief, often 15-minute or less daily check-in to keep everyone on the same page. The idea is to quickly share updates and spot blockers rather than letting them fester. Doing the daily keeps small issues from becoming big obstacles. We literally stand, so it's quicker. You share 3 things: what you achieved since the last stand-up, what you plan to do next, and if you are blocked by anything. By keeping it short and sweet, you prevent stand-ups from becoming hour-long status reports. And that is a super important part. A stand-up meeting is not a status report. As soon you realize that your stand-up become a status report, you should change something. By the way, status reports are often happen to a boss. So when you have a boss in your stand-up, and the person is not a part of the team, this is a clear indicator that the team behavior changed and people start to report to the boss. Try to avoid this situation. So, dear team leads, please stay away from stand-up meetings. Those 3 questions, what did I complete yesterday, what I'm doing today, and what's blocking me, help the entire team adjust daily. It also keeps the momentum going because you don't wait until the end of the sprint to realize someone's been stuck. What are best practices for stand-ups? Time box it to 15 minutes. Do it at the same time each day, so it's habitual. Come prepared with concise updates and address blockers right after the meeting with the relevant people, not in the stand-up itself. Let's talk a little bit more detailed about it. So the last point is important, that you are not bore 5 people to death when you need to clarify a blocker with 1 person. So put it into the stand-up. It needs to be mentioned in the stand-up. When it's a quick solution, then yes, keep it in the stand-up so maybe other people can also learn from it. When it's clear that this needs a longer chat or a longer discussion, separate it in a separate meeting. Try to foster everybody that people come prepared. So preparation is key. We, as humans, we are not good in remembering a talk on important points when we are coming unprepared. So when people forget things to mention in the stand-ups, they will have additional conversations to it. Keep in mind, bad meetings lead to more bad meetings, or to Slack conversations, Teams conversations, and so on. So preparation is key here. And time box it when everybody is prepared. The time boxing somehow will happen automatically, and it should be then relatively easy. What are the pitfalls? Pitfalls include turning stand-ups into manager-run status meetings, drifting off topic into deep discussions, or zombie stand-ups where everyone is half asleep or letting one person's monologue. The focus should be on quick alignment and identifying who need to talk after. So status reporting, we talked already about it. Managers, keep away, but also try to motivate your team to really offer help or ask for help when they are blocked. Going off topic, we also discussed it. Avoid it. Yes, questions should be allowed in a stand-up to making it valuable and meaningful, but the answer need to be short. As soon as it is more as 2 sentences, separate it in other meetings. Make sure that people paying attention in stand-up meetings. So they shouldn't do Slack messages or emails in parallel. You can definitely see it, especially in virtual meetings, when people looking not in the camera or not on the screen or on a separate screen. Also explain to your team that this is simple a point of respect. Respect to your teammates, that when they giving their update, that everybody should pay attention. Because there could be something interesting in it for them. Is it a learning maybe, or somebody can offer help? And the long monologues. Try to avoid it. So disrupt people. Again, time boxing, and here's also time boxing per person, can help a lot with that. If you are using Jira, open the active sprint board and see who has tasks in to do, in progress, or done. Team members update their tasks before the stand-up if possible. So the meeting is about clarifying blockers, not discovering last week's work wasn't updated. So the details are relatively clear here. I said already, up preparation is key. So foster your team that they update their issue status and keep the issues completely up to date, also with comments and so on. You're not jumping into details of tickets in a stand-up meeting, but it should be updated. So foster your team for the preparation. The sprint board is a helpful tool for it, and we will see in the demo how it works. In some cases, especially when you have a big team, the sprint board could be a little bit busy. Try to filter it down with classic filters for the board. Everybody should share the update on the stuff, what was done yesterday, what is my plan today, and what are potential blockers. When you realize that the question blockers has often no items, then you can change it to something else. I have a really good experience, for example, in a cross-functional team that we use the third question for when I need something from somebody. So a little bit like a handover question that me as Björn, I need something from Raime. I mention it in the stand-up, then it's clear and not just an issue assignment. Try to find a way to flag issues for the blockers that the Scrum Master, product owner, or a tech lead or a senior dev can help for these blockers later in other meetings. So, how to run now a stand-up meeting in Jira? It's relatively easy, but at the same time it's difficult. So as I said, an important part of a stand-up meeting is that people prepare their stand-up meeting. But there's no way to foster people in Jira to prepare a meeting. We need to live with the stuff what we have. For this demo purposes, at the moment, I use again the same project here. What I can't show, but I have seen it already, is that Jira rolled out a feature, a stand-up feature, which created here an additional timer or a start button, and the timer starts then here. And you can define how much minutes you want to spend per person on it. And you had also the same avatars again to click and run through the persons. It's at the moment not deactivated. It was not really documented. So there are a couple of discussions in the community about it. We will see if it will come back or not. So definitely foster your team that they prepare the stuff what they want to say. They potentially should journal it separate on a paper that they don't need to switch between screens. So, and then when it's time for the stand-up, my personal recommendation here is filter down per person. So that you really, the Scrum Master, just show the issues which are relevant for the update. It can be anyway a little bit messy because I have just 4 tickets. Now think about a couple of more issues which are active or in to do. It is super hard to drive the focus from all attendees to the issue where they're getting at the moment the verbal update. Don't try to open the issues because this creates more confusion. The important part is here that the Scrum Master need to try to create the visuals to the fitting verbal update, because then attendees have a chance to remember on roughly 70% of the content. When a human just gets a verbal update or verbal information, this chance decreased to 20%. So that means screen off. So when something complete different happened on the screen as the verbal update has at the moment, then it's like hearing a podcast and watching a Netflix movie at the same time. It totally makes no sense. So you definitely should avoid this here. I call it always the stand-up roller coaster, where Scrum Master scrolling up and down and try to find the right issue. So this happens relatively quick when you group, for example, by assignee. So my team is relatively small here, but then you see these up and down behavior. So don't do this. Leave it as it is on none or projects or whatever you use here, and then run through the issues person by person. Be careful. So you need to deselect the person always first, because you're just adding more issues here when you go to the next person. So it's not made for stand-up meetings. It's good enough. It works for a lot of teams. I'm not the biggest fan of it because at the end of the meeting, there's also a missing part. You can't document it. So yes, you can try it with note takers. My experience is that note takers are not really working with multi-topic short meetings, and especially meetings where you have also in some cases repetition from meeting to meeting. You can try it. I was never successful with them. I tried a couple of other tools. Stand-up meetings are difficult for all these tools because stand-up meetings are short, a lot of topics, a lot of speaker, and discussions are not really aligned to stuff. An additional recommendation is here because in stand-up meetings, it can happen that the Scrum Master or product owner says, colleague, let's talk later about this. So definitely what the Scrum Master should do then is noting down about what topic a follow-up is necessary or an additional meeting or a separate conversation. So you can also do it as with a flag. The problem is then that you need to describe the flag. So yeah, flag here. So it creates the flag, and then you can see it later, and the Scrum Master has a chance to remember on these stuff. So I call it somehow follow-up flag. This is definitely needed. So the Scrum Master should think about a strategy like this. Because when you have a team of 5, 6, 7, 10 developers, and you also run your stand-up in 15 minutes, you will have per meeting 2, 3, 4 times, yo, let's talk about later about this, or I will schedule a follow-up. So, but there's no chance that the Scrum Master can remember on where and what and when without taking notes or without these flags. That's how to run a stand-up meeting in Jira. It's not a lot. It's more the point how to run it interesting over time. What you can do is to keep it interesting. There's always a recommendation of rotating the attendees. That's something what you should try. I'm not the biggest fan of it because having the same order also trains them and the meeting can run much smoother. So when you rotate, it can be a little bit more chaotic. But yes, rotation and this small chaos definitely drives also attention. So I think that's the most important part. Look on the attention here. As I said, I'm a strong believer that stand-up meetings are the most important meeting for Scrum or Agile teams. But there is a huge stand-up dilemma. So because it is super hard to take a daily meeting interesting and that it delivers the value also after a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and that you have still the same structure. Very often teams start with really good stand-ups, but after a while, humans develop bad behaviors, they are not so focused anymore, and so on. So this is a huge problem. We created this very detailed white paper for it that you can deep dive more into the problem, and you should share this with your team that everybody is aware how important the stand-up is and how to keep it consistent. Let's jump into some topics of the white paper here. So first of all, companies shouldn't have bad stand-up meetings because it costs a lot of money. So also in a 500-person organization, 2 minutes wasted per day per person adds up to a full year of work which is lost. Spotify had 2 years ago an interesting blog article where they shared the cost of meetings. So a 30-minute meeting of 3 employees has a cost between $700 and $1,600. This includes preparation and so on, but also when the meeting is bad, the additional meetings. It doesn't include leadership, so no super high salaries. So keep this in mind. Bad stand-ups can frustrate your team members. So you should do from time to time a survey or should ask your people if they still find the stand-up valuable. If not, you should act. And avoid context switching. Make your stand-up on the right time of the day. Because context switching can be super hard for people. When a developer is at the moment in the flow and need to stop because the stand-up is going, then it can, on average, the time to come back to the flow can be more as 20 minutes. So make your stand-up mostly in the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. This should help to avoid the context switching. So here are a couple of problems and how we solve them with NASA. So you will see it in the live demo in a second. The overrunning meetings, how to fight against irrelevant updates, no active listening, disruptions, and the black box. We will see it live. I don't go to the details here, but you can read it separate on the white paper. Why is it so important? And I think that's an interesting part. Why is it so important to keep your stand-ups valuable? Because you have some bad long-term effects when your stand-up is shitty. Let's assume we have bad stand-ups and let's check these long-term effects. The team manager joins, for example, the stand-ups, and the team manager is acting as a Scrum master. So this leads to the aspect that the whole team has a behavior, I need to report to the manager. So it needs to be super clear when a manager is a Scrum master that he is in the Scrum master, he or she is in the Scrum master role at the moment and not in the manager role. This is super hard to achieve, but communicate it open when you are in these situations, or try to have another Scrum master, a person who is not a manager. Because when I report to a manager, then I have the situation that I start to report how busy and productive I am. So it's much harder to say something like, oh, I failed yesterday completely with my plan, or for asking for help when your boss is in the meeting. So it means it leads that people don't report blockers or something like that. This then automatically leads that all the other people are bored to death. Because when everybody is doing a status report, then it's not the collaboration, asking for help, identifying improvements, and so on. So it means people start for saying nothing interesting anymore. It's just a status report. This decreases the engagement with the colleagues. And this creates somehow a feeling that I can't ask for help in a stand-up meeting, or I don't offer help. So at the end, the whole collaboration is destroyed. And this will drive frustration. So this is then very often the driver that people say stand-up meetings are completely useless, and they start to multitask and doing other things in between. All these challenges will lead to more meetings, more separate conversations, and your stand-up is totally useless. So when you realize you are somewhere here in this flow, stop it. Try to make changes, adjust your structure, that you can come to a nice stand-up. How it looks like when your stand-up is good. You have a Scrum Master who customizes the questions on the stream demands. The questions are triggering discussions, small discussions. So it is important here that people collaborate, offer help, or ask for help. So people also getting the relevant info when the preparation is done properly. So it means there's nothing is missing, but also people not talking about dog sickness or something like else. When people preparing the stand-ups and have interesting things to say, then the colleagues listen. And this creates a complete different feeling for every attendee. When the attendees are listening to the colleagues, then you have a complete different meeting feeling. And this is again then helping each other, identifying blockers, and this creates in general the feeling that the stand-up is productive. The team also shifts then a little bit. When you have good stand-up meetings, it minimizes the separate conversations that happen in messengers or via email or in the office. Because people understand that the stand-up meeting once a day is this point to collaborate or to start collaboration, and minimum to mention something. At the end, the stand-up meeting can be the most important meeting of the day because it's a time saver and the single point of truth of the actual things what's going on. So how to run now a stand-up meeting with NASA, not another stand-up app. So we're going to the app again. It's starting. I select my stand-up meeting stream here. So I know my colleagues, Andy and Yuzi, have already prepared their stuff. So my preparation is also relatively quick. So again, here, the structure of the meeting is prepare live meeting team journal. I can do here something that I can, first of all, can copy stuff from my previous meeting. So this makes it much simpler for me to prepare my stand-up. So, and I said yesterday that I want to have a meeting with Andy about the website infrastructure. So this is done. Yes, I did it. And test the contact form. It's also done. Started with that. We'll finish it today. So, and here I give a little bit more context. Have finished it. So finished it. So now I want to do party here a little bit on this because I'm happy about it. So that was my stuff yesterday. Today, my plan is I can see already my issues which are in progress. So I need to write the homepage content here. And now I can give, again, a little bit more context. And you see already the difference to Jira. First of all, I need to prepare. But now I can give additional context, which is visual for the attendees later, but also is a good reminder for me what I want to tell about. So right, homepage content is, and I can now say, split it in 4 categories. Just as an example, A, B, C, D. And can now also ask a question if somebody has an idea for B, please ping me. Yeah. So that's nothing what is needed for the ticket, but for the meeting, it's really good information and it's a good reminder. So meetings today, I have a meeting with Yuzi about the external customer feedback. So normally then I note all my meetings here, and that's also what my teammates are doing, because this is also a much better way instead of saying, yeah, I have a couple of meetings. When I write down the topic of the meeting and who's the attendee, it drives a complete different behaviors from all the stand-up meeting attendees. So they potentially then ask, oh, Björn, please keep me on track with that because also a topic is interesting for me. Or can I join the meeting because the topic is interesting for me? So include external testers. I also need to send out this external tester mail. I put this here on the top. Send out mail to the first 20 customers. Because I want to have, as we said in our planning meeting, I want to have external testers, 5 feedbacks at the end of the sprint. So I'm sending now out a mail to 20 customers. Any blockers? No, not really. No blockers from my side. I'm super happy here. I can structure here the content again if I want, but there's no need from my side yet for it. And then I can jump into phase number 2, the meeting. The preparation can happen all the time between 2 meetings, so it's dynamically set up. So I start the meeting now, and what I can see already is, again, that user joined the meeting and the admin joins the meeting. I'm the first person here, and I can give now my update. Meetings yesterday, I had a meeting with Andy about the website infrastructure. I will work on I finished the test contact form, super happy about this. Today I will write on the homepage content. I split it already in 4 categories. I'm not relatively sure with category B, so please, when somebody has a good idea for category B, please give me an idea. I will send out the first 20 mails to customers for getting the external feedback. And I have later a meeting with user about external customer feedback. Bam. 46 seconds. Good, interesting information for the whole team. Jumping to the next one, and then user explains the stuff. And here, maybe I want to highlight the stuff, same what I explained in Jira with the flags. You can also do it here, but you flag just here for the meeting. So it's not stored in Jira because we store it in the team journal at the end, and then the flag is not needed in Jira anymore. I run through the updates of all attendees. So now the update from user, blah, 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 blah. All fine. Update from ND admin. Also here, I can can put things on follow-up if I want to do it. Blah, 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 blah. Meeting finished. Done. Same, but similar. Or no, similar, but same. That's the right way. I think the main difference is here the preparation. And another main difference here is the automatic documentation now. Because what we have seen, and that's the same problem with the sprint planning in Jira, that all the context is missing after the meeting is done. So means when I'm on vacation a couple of days, I'm out of the information loop of the stand-up meetings. If I miss a planning meeting, I can see the structure in Jira, yes, but I miss a little bit the context around. That's why I like the NASA app. I mean, we also developed the NASA app because this fills exactly the gap. Automatic documentation gives all the context around the meeting or why decisions were made and so on. So now in the team journal, the stand-up meeting is automatically documented. I have some statistics about participation here. We are early in the sprint. There are no resolved issues yet. I have the 2 follow-up items for the Scrum Master here and the update from every user documented. So the last 30 stand-ups are stored here. So I can go easily to vacation a couple of days and I'm still in the loop. I just need to consume the stuff here. So that's how you run a stand-up meeting with NASA, not another stand-up app.